We can simply go here, take those out. And we can even, we can even go to like a local piece of this move right now. There we go. We can even go to a local piece of this move now and just, kind of let this thing play out here. I don't know where we're at in price. And so fine, moves up, it goes after that same level, goes after the higher range. So we can now go back and talk about that higher range we created off of, even looking at this right here, this little section that we just looked at, that's local to what's happening up here, which is global, which is what's happening back to that weekly, which is legacy as the terms I like to use, global, local, global, and legacy. We can even see the defining parameters, right? And so you have your first trend here, right? So you have this trend that was created here. Just delete these levels here. Get some clarity on this chart here. We no longer need this right here. This is kind of gone. Come on, that's gone. And so we have the first trend that was created, and we knew that in this moment we created this trend here, right? We created this ladder down. It's going to give us our local piece right here, which we already saw that part of the move laddering down here. And we already had dictated that, once this breaks, once this trend here breaks, make it nice and clear here. Once this trend we created from this point to this point breaks and we start confirming it with these ladders, we already knew that once this broke, what we're trying to do is hold over top of this trend to see if this upper range is actually going to break to move up, right? So that was kind of the moment. It's like, okay, we broke over top of this trend. We didn't reject it. We actually started to close over top of it. Now we're back in the moment of understanding what this ladder means. So then we kind of defined already, we had already predefined before we saw any of this stuff here. We already predefined that this is kind of our moment of what we're looking at. So then, you're back in here, range finding exactly what your level is, right? It's like you're back in this area range finding against, because there is a range here, right? Like the range exists from, replayer tool, please come off. There we go. We're back range finding somewhere between backside, front side, leg of the move. We're range finding in this exact region again. Like that's back where we are. We're range finding to see if this ladder point can continue to be created. So, we can go back in here and we can start even range finding this and say, okay, 73.19, and you have a point here. So we're just actually going to maybe leave that right there. We'll go to the front side, which means this is not going to be valid. Really, this is testing right here. So you'd really kind of be at this greediest point right here, right? Like really, in my opinion, that's where you are, because you already back tested that part of it, the ladder. So you're really trying to create a ladder somewhere, in my opinion, between this point and this point. And there's a few levels in there. So it's kind of like, okay, pick the one that makes the most sense. And you could, go a little deeper here. And you could say, okay, well, there's like a little 5-minute right here. That kind of makes sense. This verifies the move. It hasn't been tested. This one has been tested. This little thing right here has been tested. So you could even kind of technically be right here at 72.98. This looks good though here at 73.13. It kind of looks nice. And alternatively, as a second level, you could be, kind of like right here. These are some levels that make sense, that can confirm a ladder, but really they all represent the same thing, is that it confirms a ladder down. And then even going up a little higher here, you would even have this like this. Like this has already been tested here, this greediest point. So you even have like a really greedy point right here that can still confirm this ladder down. These are all points that can confirm the ladder, right? Like these are all what section of the move you're in. So maybe we can take our replayer tool off. Okay, where are we on the charts here? You have your range defined, right? Like you have the part of your range defined where I think this was that 5-minute level we looked at, where kind of this makes sense to me. And we said, okay, it could actually test all the way up here. It could go up here. We probably should have color coded these a little differently. We're going to go back into that because there's a lot of green lines here. So we can start back up here where this tests a range back here. This range right here is already tested. So we know that, we don't need to worry about anything there. This is still laddering down off this point, which gives us these 2 points right here. And this is kind of the start of the range. So it's gonna live somewhere between that point and this point. So this is the tested level. What we're gonna do is we're gonna mark this one as the tested level. So that's kind of been tested already. So we know that it's kind of going to be one of these two levels will confirm that ladder. And then so you have 2 points, right? You have like the greediest points in here. Let's go take a look. I'm not really sure what this one is. Oh, that's the tested level, right? That's the tested level, right? Okay. And then so fine, you have an untested here, which this part of the ladder is tested. You could, in theory, go up to here, but if this is already tested, you are more looking at the untested, untouched range because you kind of have a tested level there. So you can almost say this has already been laddered. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this dashed line to say this level has been tested and this is the next untested level. So this is kind of the defining, the polka dotted line here is the kind of the defining point where it's like, okay, we breached the next untested level because again, this here, right here, this is tested. So this is kind of the next untested greediest point. So this is kind of the defining line because between maybe you could consider this like the local untested and the global untested, like the larger target versus the smaller target inside of a bigger range. So if you were to go to a 4 or 1 hour candle, this would just look like kind of a front side, back side combination range. So then this is tested. I would say like this little candle right here kind of did test this. So you don't really have a clear unscathed range. You don't, this is not like an untouched range. It is a touched range. However, it is below kind of our defining moment. So then you have an untouched range here. So then you maybe go to the replayer tool and find the valley that looks like it makes sense, right? That's kind of always a key thing. And there's kind of like a 3-minute start right here, but maybe we need to see something a little clearer. And so you have kind of a really extreme backside, backside, front side combination like that. So you have a really extreme backside, front side untested range there, right? So that's kind of like the next ladder point. This would be considered like if you were range finding ladder points, like this would be range finding the next ladder point, which is important right now to range find ladder points because that's what's happening, right? You go and look at the overall tone of this move, and that's what it's doing, right? It laddered from here to 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 here, and so forth and so forth. And now you're looking for that kind of that next undefined ladder point. So then we can play this out. We've got a little bit more clarity on the levels here. Break over that trend. And that's exactly what it goes after. Kind of the greediest point there that is untested. So simply when you flip your chart, you've just got the greediest point inside the range, right? Which is how these things happen, right? They go, it's like the best target. So we can just delete this one because it didn't go after that. That's exactly where it goes, right? And the important thing here is not saying, oh, this was the leg of a move, right? Like that's how a lot of people will see this. Oh, this is the 4-hour leg of a move. While that is important, yes, it is still laddering long term. So all you did now was take this trend, right? And this might be a little tricky to do. Well, you know what? We're going to draw a new trend here. You'd hard close it to here, and then you'd hard close it to right here. And that kind of gave you your ladder point right there. So now we have a new trend, right? Over time, this is just attacking a greedier level to hold a greedier level against whatever this side trend is back here. So then we can even do a little bit of trend work here just to see, okay, you've got this to this, that breaks there. You've got it to here, that breaks there, to right here. Fine, which is, and there could be different time frame relevance here. I'm just kind of skimming through this to see what we would have almost for like an expectation. So then you have this to here, kind of like this right here. So you've got your kind of defining parameters of the ladder on both sides. And, even again, if we were to go here, this would be kind of the next point, the backside next point, right? Flip this over here, and this would be the backside to that part of the move, which would be laddering off this way, right? So you'd have that ladder point here that was hit, which in theory, we could come down to this greedier point of this ladder, right? This is more indicative of breaking the move down long-term as to where something like this would be more indicative to holding the move up long-term, right? This is kind of the greediest ladder points. That ladder is exactly what's being created here. So we can delete all of the levels that we don't need to know about now. So we can delete this one. We can delete this one. This is an untested level, right? So this one is important, right? These are like the untested ladder points, or maybe they're tested in the moment. Actually, I think because I'm on the daily chart here, I think our next untested ladder point is actually right here. So this would be kind of your next, if this does break this piece of the move for some reason, there's going to be a final untested ladder. Like you've got, for example, this here was tested. So it cannot be that, right? And then this here isn't tested. So in theory, this could be the final push up before you see, like this could be the highest Bitcoin. In theory, this could technically be the highest price Bitcoin ever sees from this point forward. We could go to 7320 and this could go down to 2,600. Now, I'm not saying it's going to, but in theory, in laddering theory, that is a possibility because it's an untested part of the move that could hold this move down and create the next ladder point for it. So quite simply, when we look at, even right now, you see it's testing the trend we just made. So even in this moment right now, it's seeing if it can hold that trend. So it actually just dropped while we were on this call. It just dropped 80%, right? So, and I'm sure these ladders existed off of more ladders, off of more ladders, off of more ladders, right? Like I'm sure even if we went into this piece of this move here, even from this morning or whatever, you could probably very easily see these ladder points to here, or whatever it is to here. And then, backside ladder right here. Well, one of these two candles. I'm sure there's a higher time frame that shows a little more clarity. Maybe we can do a 3 minute here. Maybe that'll be a little clearer. Yeah, so the 3 minute moment right there, that's the clearly defined ladder, which gives you your backside, frontside combination, like backside here, front side somewhere inside of here. Maybe there's a 5 minute that starts here. It looks like this is possibly the start of a 5 minute. 5 minute candle right there. So that's giving you your ladder point there, which would have given you another ladder point here as we walk through the move, or the backside right here. This looks like maybe a 15 minute backside. Backside, frontside combination. Backside, maybe this is a 15 minute. Yep, that's a 15 minute right there. So that's a 15 minute that gives you your ladder point there. That would have given you your next ladder point here. And maybe there's like a more defined, 5 minute right there, which gives you, like you can see the ladder developing, which is creating the trend, right? Like that's the ladder that's being developed, which is creating this trend to here, which gives you the moment it breaks up and hits that hold level from that. So quite simply, all you did was basically confirm the move down, and now we're testing to lose this longer term trend here. So, and I'm not convinced that these, my trend on this bottom side, I did this very quickly. I'm not convinced that this is 100% accurate. I think there's more going on here. Just as a quick example, I drew some fast trends, and it looks like they're accurate and being respected. However, I would do a lot more work than ascertaining this move than just drawing that one quick trend like that. But on the flip side of that, I'm pretty good at what I do. So I think that's might have some relevance to it. But really the important thing is understanding how this ladder is getting created off these moves, because we're still in a move down, right? Like that's why these ladders are being used and respected and represented. That's why this is the target, because it's laddering off the higher pieces. And then even in the future, we said 7320 could be the highest that ever goes. Well, another possibility here, the highest it could ever go would be, this range is pretty kind of tested, and this range is tested. So in theory, this could be like the next best short entry. 7248 could be the next, in theory, best ladder point entry, which we know could possibly have some truth to it because of the long-term ladder that's being developed on a global scale, or in a global time frame, a higher time frame that is not giving us the full picture, but the local piece will give us the picture of what's happening now versus the global. And kind of this interaction point between local and global is happening. We understand the global events that are happening and how they are creating local parameters within this move, right? We are understanding how they are creating the local parts of this move. So when we were looking for, like, okay, so say we trade today, and I'm saying, okay, I'm trading today. What am I doing? I understand that globally we have an interaction that has been true all the way back from, and we can go here and go to the daily, all the way back from this first weekly point back here, which started the first piece of our story, right? Our weekly point back here, which started our first piece of the story to start the first part of this ladder, the second, third, fourth, fifth, the degradation of the top of a move, potentially going down to target this right here at 5,800, right? So kind of the next long spot, like weekly, targeting weekly, right? And there's no real strong ladder point here, but again, so see, the weekly was already tested. Actually, we saw this already. So in theory, we could actually be breaking down to the base of the range, or we could be kind of somewhere in here. And this one, it says, so it's a little worrying, because this weekly that we have here, this greediest weekly point, is actually already tested. So we already tested the weekly point. It's not an untested, unscathed level. The next level that is this here. So kind of looks like we're setting up the base of the range of this thing to go back down to this 5,400 range. Now that doesn't mean it's going to, because we can't see that many steps in the future. But if this ladder continues, that's going to be its target, because we can see this is already tested. Could it be tested and held in the future again? Absolutely, it could. Or a nice untested level here. This one was tested. That was the backside. The front side of this could be the next piece to this move, right? Like the front side of the level in here somewhere. So if we go to the 4-hour candles, I'm sure there's like kind of, look here, even the backside was tested right here. There's a 2-hour, I believe it was one of these candles in here was a 2-hour level. You could even kind of be right here on a smaller time frame going after this, because this is kind of the next unscathed level. Like this is actually it right here, and it's protecting this, which laddered off that. So you could be down at 5,900, you could be down at 6,200, and we'll know which level is going to be tested as the move develops, and we can see, one step in the future what's happening. We'll know which level is going to be tested. We'll know if that, we start to break our top range and continue this ladder down. We've already tested this 4-hour level, the range inside there. So now we're going to some kind of backside, front side here to create the next piece of this ladder, right? We're going somewhere in this range to create the next piece of this ladder. And once that piece of that ladder gets created, we will be attempting to recapture these levels on so it comes down to this level. It'll attempting to recapture a front side, backside combination from here or right here. So as this move continues on, right, let's just erase that. You'd mark this as backside, and then this is already marked as the front side. So then you'd have some kind of, because this is already tested. You see that's already tested there. Like this is already, the greedy point is already tested. So really to hold this move down, it's got to come down to the 6240 level, and then it's got to come, like it's got to do this. It's got to come down to the 6240 level, and it could even hold here. It could, and that might be the moment that it might need to hold. So we can draw that level too. We can draw kind of this front side range right here. We can draw this front side range right here. So in theory, it could come down to here, hit this backside over top of its trend. So what a realistic scenario would look like is it comes here, goes like this, goes like that, goes like this, hits this backside, and then pulls right down to this level. This will start to degrade the move long term as to where this will attempt to hold it up over top of this hold level. But it's all a part of understanding laddering, right? And the effects of how these ladders are not only forming long term. So now we have the long term expectation, what we should be looking at this week or next week, or as this move develops, however long it takes. It could be one day, it could be 50. Just perpetually hold the Pandora's box in here for the next 4 weeks. But we still understand that it's funneling smaller and smaller. So it might be like this to start, and then it goes kind of like this, and then it goes like that, and then it kind of just goes like this. And then one side of the box will break, and it'll either go straight down to the level, or it'll go straight up to its next range and kind of up here and break this ladder, or actually to the next greedy point in this ladder, right? Actually, maybe to this level here, one of these further levels, this one right here, this kind of line in between here. What price is that? 72.14 it looks like, or I don't know, something like that. This green line right here, 73.68, and then possibly down even to this level, right? So you can see the long-term ladder being created, and it gives us local parameters and long-term expectations. So it kind of gives you the bigger trade moments. When this trade had happened here, this is like a 10% trade overnight, right? Like it gives you the bigger moments, because this is backside right here that got hit. This was the 1 hour range inside the 4 hour. So does the 4 hour get hit, or does the range get hit, right? Like the range got hit here. So the 4 hour versus 10% move up to the greedy level in here that we defined, and we can delete this one, make it clear to its greedy level, and now possibly breaking down to this range here. But it gives you these long-term pieces, gives you exactly what you should be going after. Front side, backside holds now make you understand where the ladder points are, right? So it kind of gives you like the front, think of it this way. The front side, backside combinations give you entries, okay? A ladder points gives you the maximum it can reach. So in this moment here, we can rewind this to right here. And we can delete this and this, because we don't need these levels. What we did need in this moment is to understand that, the backside range, wherever it exists in here, that 12-hour level was tested. So the range on that 12-hour level, and we can go draw that. So the range right there, the 12-hour range, right? So this 12-hour range that was tested, we know now that if we go to this 4 hour, and we have the 4 hour range that's tested, this is already tested on this side. So you should be going to like the kind of the greediest point that can ladder. It gives you a maximum target. You see the backside was tested, and the front side could be anything from this candle right here all the way to the top of the range. As long as it continues to ladder, it gives you a maximum target. So what this gives you is entry and this green line here, parameter of the trade, right? So entry and parameter of the trade. So now you guys understand what entries look like. Now you can understand what the, or guys and girls understand what the entry looks like. Now you can understand what the maximum top and bottom of this move is, right? Because it's simply going after the greediest point. And you, in theory, could have actually been right here as well. And there could be some range that lives in here that could have also been another maximum point, right? Like actually you can see it hits right there. So there is some kind of, and that's just experience that I know how to select this one because of what I'm seeing here. That's not something that's, oh, this is a specific level. Don't start attaching things to the body of candles. I can see candles within candles because I've just done this for long enough that I can understand like, oh, there's a level going to be a level right here. So, don't start snapping to bodies because that's going to do you wrong. Rather, this is just for me an experience thing. I can kind of see what's in here inside of this candle just by seeing this. Just like I said, oh, this is probably a 15-minute level on the one in the past and in this range somewhere. It's kind of the same thing. Really what this does is it gives you kind of like entry, right? So you've got your perfect entry spots, like 64.80 was entry on this from whatever, back when this level got hit. And so you guys saw that trade or took that trade or whatever. And it gives you the top of the range, right? So if you're looking at shorting, it gives you the point where you have the maximum kind of expectation, I guess is the best way to put it. This can continue the ladder down, therefore making it the very top of what this can get to before it has a pullback. It doesn't give it a choice. It makes it the very top that it can get to before it has a pullback because it has to see if it can break outside of that, right? And then now we're simply left at in this moment right here where we have trend, trying to see if trend is holding against whatever's happening right now. Wait, let me see. What did I miss here? Replayer tool is still on. Let me turn that off. And then even right here, right? Like you've got some kind of range inside of here that would have tried to hold this move up. Backside right here at 69, whatever. Maybe there's a greedier part of the range in here. I'm not sure. Could even be right here. Another valley right there against the front side, which is down here. And it will Pandora's box off this, right? So you've already even got the local parts of your entries kind of predefined for you just based off these ladder points, right? Like it's somewhere in between here, right? Like it's somewhere in between these kind of this is the range right here. So your job to go and find those levels. And then even here, you've got some range between the bottom of this the top of this to the bottom of this. So then you've got kind of that point right there, right? Where you have the exact confines of the move, right? And that could even be more local. Could even possibly be this valley right here. I would say it's probably that backside from back here, wherever it was. It looks like it was maybe right here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the go here, and that's that piece of that right there, right? So ladders give you a very, very specific criteria that shows you the top and bottom of moves, right? Like we learned entry points with hold levels. Ladders and trends start to show you ladders, not trends. Ladders show you the maximum range. So if you were to say, where's perfect entry? That's your hold levels and ranges. If you were to say, what's the most this can move, so the range of the entirety of the move, I use that term a lot, range, so don't get confused what I mean by range here. There's a range of a hold level, right? A range means this. A range means a box where something has a couple different potentials, right? So there's a hold level range, and then there's a move range. So it showed you the move range, okay? So holds give you entry, and hold levels have their own range. And then ladders give you the range of the move, right? So from the top first entry point to the maximum exit point, and which also that maximum exit point becomes the best entry point for a short. So your ladders give you that, right? Your ladders give you the maximum range inside of a move. The range of the move is the way to put it. And the hold level gives you the range of the hold. Yeah, that's a good way to word it. That's not confusing. Might still be a little confusing, but I think at least that makes sense if you slow down and think about it. This is the kind of the first step into understanding trends and how deep we go with trends. And there's a lot of different trend work we do, but ladders and understanding how they work first, understanding these ladders and how important they are, and how much insight they give us to a move is crucial. Like the ladders give you the insight that you need to understand everything about the move. Where the ranges exist also works into polarity, and polarity is a part of our future. The maximum range of a move is also the polarized points, right? The top of this range is polarized. The bottom of this range is polarized. Now, we're not going to talk about polarization today, but anyways, as a good marquee for you guys to start thinking about polarization, that's, another polarized point is the maximum range of a move. Gives you two polarized points, tops and bottoms, which are also, again, perfect entry. When you go full circle with it, to understand what hold levels are being hit is to understand the maximum part of the range, which also gives you points of polarity.